Okay, so you want to own a food truck. Get a vehicle, cook your food, park somewhere busy, and watch the money come in. No expensive lease, no huge staff, just you, your recipes, and the open road. That's the version people see on social media. Long lines, sold out boards by 1 in the afternoon. An owner who looks like they worked a 3-hour shift and called it a day. Here's what nobody shows you. That owner was at a commissary kitchen at 6 in the morning, prepping food they won't get paid for directly. Tonight, they'll clean the vehicle the health department will inspect again next month. And at the end of a genuinely good month, they might take home $3,000 to $7,000 before taxes. That's the real version. And understanding why it looks so different from the one on your feed is worth 10 minutes of your time. A used truck, already fitted with a kitchen, already inspected, runs $30,000 to $80,000. Sounds manageable, less than a new car. Here's the trap. It's cheap for a reason. The generator is undersized, the exhaust hood may not meet current fire code, and you'll find out during your first health inspection, which you won't pass. Then you'll spend another $5,000 to $15,000 retrofitting the truck you bought to save money. A brand new custom build runs $75,000 to $175,000. Properly sized generator, fire suppression system, code-compliant plumbing, refrigeration that actually holds temperature, plus real financing terms from banks. Most serious operators land in between. A used engine and chassis, retrofitted kitchen, landing around $80,000 to $120,000 once you add the fire suppression system, the sinks and water tanks, the wrap and signage, and a point-of-sale setup. All in, a properly equipped, code-compliant truck in a major American city runs $100,000 to $150,000 before you've bought a single ingredient. Before you cook one paying meal, you'll deal with several government agencies, each charging fees and requiring inspections that renew annually. In heavily regulated cities, first-year regulatory compliance averages around $28,000. Registration, that's food handler certifications, fire and health permits, parking authorizations. In New York, it's stranger still. The city caps full-year food truck permits, and the waiting list runs decades, not years. So operators rent permits from people who've held them since the 90s with no intention of ever running a truck. And this cost never ends. Every permit renews, every certification expires, every health department can inspect you unannounced. After year one, the average operator spends $600 to $1,500 a month just staying legal. Before fuel, before food, before a single employee. In nearly every major American and British cities, a food truck legally cannot operate as a standalone kitchen. You need a commissary. A licensed commercial kitchen that's your home base for prep, storage, gray water disposal, and cleanup. And you pay rent for it. $800 to $2,000 a month, rain or shine, busy month, or dead month. If you thought a food truck meant escaping rent, the commissary is the thing that proves you wrong. It also runs on its own schedule. Most commissaries operate on reserved time blocks booked weeks in advance. Show up late, and you're cutting into your own prep time. Get double booked, and you wait, and every hour lost, there is an hour you're not ready when the lunch rush hits. The instinct is to build a big menu, more options, more appeal. In practice, every item adds its own ingredients, its own prep time, its own assembly steps under time pressure. 12 menu items means slower tickets, harder inventory forecasting, and food that spoils before it sells. Waste that comes straight out of margin. The most successful trucks run 4 to 6 core items. That's not a limitation, it's a financial decision. Faster tickets, tighter inventory, a kitchen line that flows without workers crossing paths. And the smartest menus pair one expensive protein anchor, where raw food cost runs 35 to 45% of the price, with high-margin sides like fries or drinks, where raw cost is just 8 to 18%. The sides subsidize the star of the menu. People imagine that once the truck and permits are paid for, the remaining expense is just food. Not close. Combined vehicle and generator fuel runs $400 to $1,200 a month, plus propane for cooking. Insurance, commercial auto, general liability, and equipment coverage combined runs roughly $275 to $600 a month. Preventive maintenance, given how hard a commercial vehicle works, runs $300 to $800 a month. And that's when nothing breaks. That's when something does. A transmission, a generator, a refrigeration compressor. You're looking at $3,000 to $7,000 out of pocket in a single week. Add point of sale and inventory software, another $150 to $350. Add it all together, and the fixed monthly overhead of simply keeping a food truck legal and operational runs $3,500 to $6,500 every single month before you've paid yourself or bought an ingredient. Let's get precise about what happens when a customer pays you $14 for a meal, because this number matters more than any other. The city takes sales tax first, roughly 8%, or about $1.12. You didn't earn that, you collected it for the government. You're left with $12.88. Subtract food cost. A well-run truck targets 30% of net sale, or $3.86. You're at $9.02. Subtract packaging, the box, napkins, sauce cups, fork, another 60 to 70 cents. You're at $8.32. Subtract card processing, roughly 2.9%, plus 10 cents, about 47 cents. You're at $7.85. Then labor. Even cooking it yourself, every hour on the truck has a cost, time you're not spending elsewhere. With one employee at $18 an hour, the fully burdened cost with payroll taxes and workers' comp is closer to $22. Spread across a shift's orders, that's roughly $2 to $2.50 per ticket. What's left? About $5.35. That's your contribution margin. What's actually available to pay every fixed monthly cost. If your overhead is $5,000 a month, you need to sell 935 meals a month just to break even. That's 31 meals a day, 6 days a week. Before you've taken home a single dollar, a food truck doesn't earn evenly across the day. In busy districts, 60 to 70% of daily revenue happens in a 90-minute window, roughly 11:45 to 1:15. That window is your entire business day. Everything before it is prep, everything after is cleanup, and throughput inside that window is unforgiving. At 60 seconds per order, you serve 90 customers in that window, $1,260 in revenue. Stretch the average ticket to 90 seconds, and you serve 60, $840. Same truck, the same location, same day. $420 lost to 30 extra seconds per order. Restaurants have walls. Food trucks have weather. Heavy rain cuts street traffic by 70 to 90%. People don't line up in the rain for lunch. Extreme heat, above 95 degrees, drops walk-up traffic 40 to 60% while pushing the temperature inside your truck past 110. Harder on your refrigeration, harder on your staff. And in northern cities, this winter brings a 40 to 60% drop in street revenue from November through March. The fixed costs don't hibernate with the weather. The insurance bill, the commissary rent, the loan payment, they all arrive in January regardless. The weather decides your revenue. You only decide your costs. That asymmetry is the real structural challenge of this business. A single owner-operator controls every variable, cooking, driving, the money, every minute of every shift. Add a second truck, and you need a manager, that's someone to run inventory across 2 vehicles, double the commissary volume, 2 separate parking spots, and permits. Revenue doubles. Management complexity doesn't double. It multiplies, and when it isn't handled well, it shows up as inconsistent food, lost repeat customers, and rising fixed costs. The operators who scale successfully mostly don't scale the truck itself. They use it as proof of concept, then pivot into catering contracts or a brick-and-mortar location with revenue that doesn't depend on the weather. Festivals and concerts can generate $5,000 to $20,000 in a single weekend, but events charge a flat entry fee of $500 to $3,000, plus 15 to 30% of your gross. On a $10,000 weekend at 20%, you owe $2,000 before any other cost. And if it rains out, you've already bought the food and paid the fee. Corporate catering is the opposite. A pre-agreed menu, headcount, and prepaid deposit remove nearly every variable, no weather risk, thus no event fee, and net margins regularly reach 20 to 35%. 2 or 3 steady corporate clients create a financial floor the street alone can never provide. Say you spent $90,000 all in, that's financing $70,000 at 7% over 5 years, about $1,386 a month. On a good month, doing $35,000 in revenue with 2 catering contracts and 1 weekend event, food cost $10,500, labor $9,500, everything else, commissary, permits, fuel, insurance, maintenance, fees, $7,000 plus the loan payment. Total costs $28,386. Net profit, $6,614. Now the realistic month. It's January, 2 weeks of rain. A catering client pushed their order to March. The generator needs a $2,400 repair. Revenue drops to $18,000. Your fixed costs don't drop with it. You end the month down roughly $800, with the repair bill still on your card. That's a swing of over $7,000 between a good month and a bad one. And you don't get to choose which month you're in. Thoughts? The average American food truck grosses around $346,000 a year, which sounds impressive until you apply the real net margin, which industry data puts at 6 to 9%. That's $20,000 to $31,000 a year in actual take-home profit. The operators who clear $50,000 to $85,000 a year exist, but they got there by minimizing debt, building a real catering book, controlling food costs with real discipline, and working the truck themselves instead of paying someone else to. Divide that income by the hours they actually put in, and it lands around $15 to $25 an hour. Not a criticism, just the arithmetic of the business. A food truck is not a passive investment. It's a complete business compressed into a metal box running on a 90-minute window against whatever the weather decides to do that day. The ones who understand that going in are the ones who survive long enough to actually make it work.